Hello, I'm Lawrence Beldon-Smythe, the man from England. Well, not the only man from England, but the only one you're watching on TV right now. Hopefully. Anyway, I came to America to uncover truths wherever they lie. And truths are lying on a daily basis, believe me. Before we continue, I have a slight confession to make. This episode from NASA's Cape Canaveral in Florida is slightly personal. My late father, Gordon Beldon-Smythe, firmly believed that the whole moon landing thing was a fake. So to honor his paranoid, conspiracy-filled memory, I came here to uncover the truth. My path of discovery took me inside the heart of NASA for an exclusive look at their rocket ships, known as space shuttles. It took me inside a local rocket club so I could learn more about blasting things into the air for no apparent reason.
Oh my God!
And it took me into astronaut training to see if I had what American astronauts call the right stuff.
Stop! Stop!
And it doesn't look promising. So prepare for liftoff, because my name is Lawrence and this is America.
I'll pack my favorite trousers, my toothbrush and my comb, 'cause America is calling me.
NASA's launching headquarters is on a cape on the coast of Florida. Florida is home to humidity, hurricanes and the hoary. That means old people, not prostitutes. And oranges. It's also home to NASA, the American government agency responsible for the alleged space program. It was from this swamp-filled location in the 1960s NASA launched a multitude of rockets. A few, grouped under the name Apollo, are said to have made it all the way to the moon. Unless you're like my father and believe they only made it to a Western American desert. He was sure you could see cactus in the background of those moon videos. But then he was also sure potatoes could talk. Only raw ones, not French fries. Apparently they were very good at mathematics, long division in particular. Anyway, the rockets of the 60s gave way to this mighty beast in the 80s, the Space Shuttle.
Houston now controlling.
This vehicle was special because it was reusable. It would appear NASA led the world in recycling. To discover what's fact, what's fiction, and what's paranoid schizophrenia, one must go to the heart of all things spacey, the Kennedy Space Center. First stop is something called the Visitors Center. This place has rockets and other pointy objects that were either sent into space or made to look like the ones that were. Along with the objet de space, one can find real-life astronauts lurking. No, not the teenager in the suit, this chap named John Fabian, who flew in 2 space shuttles in the 80s. What goes through your head when that enormous tank of fuel goes off underneath you and you hear this rumbling and...
Well, at that point, you're simply holding on, you know. It's a wild experience. People are always curious, you know, as to whether or not it's frightening on the launch pad, and the answer is yes, you're very frightened on the launch pad.
Do things like odors travel in space?
Most people think that the astronauts are the bravest people in the space program, but it isn't true. It's the guy who comes and opens the door after you land. Because you can imagine everything's inside that vehicle. But the guy who gets that first whiff of air from inside, he's a brave guy.
Can I ask how people go to the a bathroom, as you say, in America in space?
Now, we do have a toilet to get rid of solid waste, and you know, some key steps there are to make sure that you put your seatbelt on so you don't float away at the wrong time. And you know, so it's an interesting exercise. You have to train to use it. It has an opening in it slightly larger than the top of a Coke can.
Oh, really?
And so, you know, aim is real important here. So.
Beldon-Smythes have always had excellent aim, which led this reporter to have an epiphany. That's English for good idea. No Englishman has ever gone into space from NASA. Oh, there have been 3 so-called Englishmen, but they all have dual citizenship, so they don't really count. The Russians sent up an English woman, and James Bond can't be included. So the field was exposed for someone with the right combination of courage and Englishness. We gave America democracy, so it was time they gave us a ride on their rocket ships. And by us, I mean me. If I wanted to get into the space program and become an astronaut, what would my chances be?
Very low. It's very low for anybody. You know, of the people who apply, 1 in 500 is selected.
The odds of being a global television celebrity are even lower, and I've plucked that chicken, so this astronaut thing can't be that hard. But before I went to NASA, I needed to learn a little bit more about this rocket science business. It may be on the test. So I visit a local weekend rocket club and enter their strangely phallic world next.